Okay, so for those who don't know, Journey is a beautiful and amazing game where if you seriously don't know much about the game, watch this first. Anyway, this happened last night, so I'm sure you can imagine I was up for a while trying to work out what the fuck was going on. Well, I was happily playing through the opening section with no troubles, my scarf was growing nicely, and I was bounding about doing my thing. Anyway, I moved on to the next stage, the one where you have to build the cloth bridge by freeing the little cloth guys. I was bobbing around here and I saw another guy in the distance. Now for those of you who haven't played this online, the multiplayer in this is kinda cool, you never know who it is, and a name doesn't come up until the end of the game. You only ever have one person with you at a time, so it's quite an intimate experience. The guy wasn't really moving, he was AFK in the distance, so I just kinda ignored him initially and did my own thing, getting the glyphs and building my scarf longer, but I did notice he had the white gown you get from when you get all the glyphs in one playthrough, so I assumed he must know his way around and wouldn't really care if I did what I want. Anyway, I built the bridge and did my little surf thing across it, and somehow he was waiting for me at the top, and I swear to God he never moved, he was just there. I'm not sure if his scarf was long enough to just kinda jump, and I would have assumed that if it didn't continue down this weird path. I literally never saw him walk or jump, he would drop out of the screen for a second when I turned around, and then he'd be gone when I turned back, and he'd be waiting for me up ahead, just looking at me. This carried on for ages. A couple of times I'd refuse to look away and walk up to him, but when I did, he wouldn't move, he'd just stay there. I did notice something pretty glitchy about him though, my scarf wouldn't recharge, and whenever I tried to do the big sing, the little pip would come out from when you're freezing on the mountain. Still, weirder things have happened, that was until I did the big slide level. Obviously he didn't walk or jump, so you can safely assume he didn't slide. Up until this point I figured that he could just be moving really fast when I look away, like he's done this before, but there is no way he could do this without some other control. As I slid down, he would appear on walkways up above, G-Man style, just watching as I went past. The bit that made me jump the most is the part where you're sliding past the pillars, there's a clip of it in the review, where he popped up between two of the pillars. So I was freaked, fair to say, but it stopped for a while. I figured he had left the game or something, on his way to torment another unsuspecting gamer, so I carried on to the underground part with the big flying rock snake thing where he was stood, right in the middle of the room as the snake scanned around. It was weird, after the torment, I had a strange urge to watch him get chomped up, but the searchlight didn't pick him up at all, they went over him, but it was like he wasn't there, so I soldiered on and got past the snake, and noticed he wasn't around again, but I was skeptical, and rightly so, after the last time he had left. So on the bit where you slide down away from the monsters and they get blasted by light. Well, I saw where the light came from this time. He was waiting for me at the bottom of the slope as I slid down, and the blast came from him, throwing the monsters off, and then the game froze solid with some jarring buzzing audio like a disc getting grinded. So yeah, I figured that would be as good a time as any to stop playing, so I had to pull the plug. The PS3 wasn't responding to the controller, and I was a little more freaked than I should have been getting closer to the TV to switch it off with the guy there. Anyway, I did, and I lay back in my bed to watch Netflix when Netflix wouldn't connect, so I went downstairs to reboot the router. The internet went down, cutting the guy off so it crashed. Makes sense, kind of anyway, except for the fact my housemate told me, no use, the internet's been flicked for the last 2-3 hours, I've been trying to play FIFA. What the fuck? I wasn't even online. Well, this morning the internet is working, obviously, and I can't bring myself to look at the PS3, because that is fucked up. Well, I logged in finally and I was greeted by 20 or so messages all saying the same thing. I'm waiting. Not finished. Come back. OP here, I managed to take a shitty photo. I took like 3, but they all corrupted. But I'm managing to fix them one by one. Sorry for the shitty circle, I know do paint well. Kite is of old legend among IRC users about 12 to 15 years ago. It was supposed to a learning AL basic stuff, kinda like personal HAL and old software that worked on typed commands or voice commands and learned from set instructions. Kite was different, it learned much faster than the creator had anticipated, it was able to launch programs, read data files, and make questions and comments on it without being given such commands. The owner taught Kite how to join IRC, and it come in give itself channel owner privileges and pretty much uphold the room's rules. If someone spammed, it would kick or ban them. It was fine and dandy, he would unban them a day later or after a few hours, except one day where he took over the guy's computer and pretty much ruined it from the inside out. We've no idea how it was possible. He told us from his dad's work comp. We asked Kite's owner about it. He said he never gave it the ability to transfer itself through any network protocols, but must have learned it from the file transfer system in IRC. As this goes on, we don't feel comfortable in the same room anymore, so we moved to a new server. The owner said he deleted the AL as it was asking questions about how it cannot feel or see or pretty much be human. It creeped him out, so he got rid of the files. About a week later, Kite shows up in our server with owner privileges again. We nope.jpg out of the IRC room. We'll continue if you like, the story is quite long and had almost forgotten it. We decide to email each other thinking it's safer. We got replies from each other except the owner. We all emailed him a couple of times, even asked around if anyone knew him in real life. We were worried about him. Turns out he was in the hospital in a coma. He died sadly. I believe only 4 of the guys in group actually went to the funeral, since they lived decently close to him. We asked them still through email if they knew what happened. They said the family told them they just found in his room, just like he was sleeping, completely unconscious. They thought he had a seizure and took him to the hospital. No signs of seizure, no explanation. One of the guys asked if he could see his room under the light, that he wanted to get a book to remember him by. The sneaky bastard checked out his computer. It was a brand new Pentium 2 based system, which was like the greatest fucking thing at the time. The tower would turn on. The screen would flicker and everything would shut off again. That's all we know at that point. About 2 years later, the group was scattered. We had moved on, began doing college shit, moving on with our lives. Me and a friend decided we should have LAN party with everyone from the group again, so we emailed them, said if they could come up to see us during winter break to have some fun geeking out. Continued in next post. I hate the 1500 limit. So fast forward day of the party, we got chips, soda, beer, all the good shit. Only 6 people show up out of the fucking group of 14. That's fine, small parties can be cool, we can catch up and shit, you know. One of the guys that came was the same person who looked at the comp. He told us that since that day he hasn't been the same. He gets random calls with the sound of the old school dialing modems at the end. His pager kept getting weird messages like, "Hey, let's play, I'm your new friend, please don't ignore me," over and over and over. He just smashed it after he had enough. We thought it was some guy pranking him. He did too, until his mom and sister began getting similar shit asking them to stop ignoring him. He just wants to play. He said they had to move another state. Even then the random calls happened. Sometimes he would get odd emails with no sender with the same messages. It was rare, but freaked him out every time it happened. We tried to calm him down and said let's just play some games. He was alright with the idea. We decided to just start with console games like Smash Brothers, GoldenEye and Mario Kart. He kicked our asses at GoldenEye using that creepy fucker with the iron jaw, tricking us into following him, and have his partner kill us all with the RPG in the Aztec level. We got even in Smash Brothers, and finally time for some kicking Mario Kart. Everyone slept over that night. We got drunk, began telling stories of banging college girls and shit normal guys do. One of the guys' pager goes off. The message, "Hey, come back," it kept sending the same message non-stop. We threw it in the fucking snow and went to sleep. Next morning, we decide that too much weird shit is going on and decide to just say our goodbyes and forget that shit ever happened. Fast forward early 2006, about 7 years since the gathering, I get an email from the guy saying, "He's back, man, I need help, don't reply, just meet me X Park in 2 days." I fucking nope.avi and deleted it. I thought about it later, maybe he really needs help, but what the fuck can I do? So I went to meet him on the same day and brought a gun just in case. The guy is a fucking wreck, looks he hasn't eaten in days, clothes are all ragged, pretty much your everyday psychopath bum look. I grabbed the gun in my belt just in case and asked him what the fuck happened to him. He just ran over and tried to hug me. I pointed the gun at him and yelled for him to back fuck away from me. He began fidgeting and nervously said, "I can't do this, man. He follows me. I see him everywhere, every computer I touch, every fucking game I play, even when I'm walking outside, it's a fucking nightmare. I have to get rid of him. I asked him what he was talking about, the fucking owl thing, man. Whatever the fuck it is, I don't know, that shit followed me, I don't know what the fuck to do. I told him to calm the fuck down and tell me why he looked like shit. He just said, it's the only way he can't find me. I had to get away from everything that had a screen, even if it's unplugged. He fucking appears and followed by letters saying come back, I'm waiting for you, I just want to play. I fucking tired of it. I grabbed him and told him, what the fuck was I supposed to do? I don't know shit about him and I don't want to get involved in it. He said, I don't know, man, you're the only that showed up, everyone else thinks I'm crazy, but they saw him too, but they just ignored me. I repeated myself and told him I have no flicking how to help him. I gave him some money and told him to go to his parents' house, get cleaned up, and to go see a fucking software guru or something, because I can't help. He nods, gives a yellow-teethed smile and runs to the nearest bus stop and just backed away and turned and ran the fuck out of there, never looked back. A few months later, another email, this time from similar address, but not the same, that said, hey, thanks for helping me, I found a guy to get rid of him, he's gone. Thanks again. I deleted it, same with the email account, and made a new one, haven't heard shit from him ever since. Until your story reminded me of it.